In every age, people have fought invisible battles, not against monsters, but against their own thoughts. Thoughts that twist, divide, question, until even a single step feels impossible. This is the story of Aaron, a young dreamer who learned that freedom isn't found in perfect plans, but in one decisive step. The valley of Meran lay between two quiet mountains, where mornings smelled of dew and clay, and evenings glowed like golden smoke. In that valley lived a boy named Aaron, 20 years old, bright eyes, restless hands, and a mind that never stopped asking, "What if?" He was not lazy. He was not lost. He was simply trapped in the storm of too many maybes. His little home was a museum of unfinished dreams, sketches of bridges, half-carved stones, rolled maps of journeys never taken. Each morning he whispered, "Today I'll begin." And each night, the candle watched him think, instead of act. People called him the dreamer who never walks. He laughed with them, but deep inside, the laughter hurt. One afternoon, while wandering near the Temple of Quiet Steps, Aaron met an old monk sitting on a worn stone stair. The monk's robe was the color of dust after rain. His beard flowed like frost on still water. He said nothing, only watched Aaron as one might watch the wind try to choose a direction. "Master," Aaron asked, bowing, "how do men choose when every path feels right and wrong at the same time?" The monk smiled faintly. He didn't speak. He simply stood, motioned Aaron inside the temple, and opened a small blue book with no title. On one page, written in neat ink, were the words, "When the mind holds too many roads, the feet forget the ground. Choose one road by sunset, and take a step that cannot be taken back." The monk looked up and said softly, "This is called the sunset vow." Aaron frowned. "Choose by sunset? Isn't that reckless?" The monk poured tea, slow, deliberate, fragrant. "Not choosing," he said, "is the most reckless thing of all. It chooses regret." That night, Aaron sat before his 3 lifelong dreams: a writer's quill, a carver's chisel, and a traveler's drum. He looked at them like 3 stars pulling his heart in opposite directions. When he imagined writing, he saw meaning. When he imagined carving, he felt strength. When he imagined traveling, he felt wind and freedom. Each dream whispered, "Pick me." Each fear answered, "What if you pick wrong?" The monk's words echoed in the room. By sunset, one step that cannot be taken back. At dawn, Aaron walked to the village bridge, old, cracked, trembling under years of footsteps. There he saw the bridge keeper, a woman with river-worn hands and eyes that knew storms. "Keeper," he said, voice trembling, "I make my vow before the bell and the river. I will carve the new keystone for this bridge and place it within 40 days. If I fail, I'll work a full season without pay." The woman raised an eyebrow. "Boy, stone is stubborn." Aaron smiled faintly. "So is a vow." He pressed his inked thumb on her ledger. The print looked small, but it felt heavier than the mountain behind him. That was his first step. No going back. He took the pale block of river stone home, rolled up his sleeves, and began at dawn. He set a rule. The quiet hour, 1 hour every morning no matter what. No visitors, no doubts, no second thoughts. Day 1, the first chip fell. Day 3, his palms blistered. Day 6, the blisters turned to calluses, and the rhythm of hammer and chisel began to sound like a heartbeat. Above his table, he carved 4 small lines into the wood. Keep the time, not the mood. Guard the vow, not the plan. When a wall appears, open a smaller window. Perfection is for statues. Bridges are for people. On the 12th day, rain came like an argument from the sky. The wind slammed doors. The river roared. Aaron ran to cover the stone with canvas, gripping the ropes as the storm bit his arms with water and sand. By morning, the old bridge was wounded, one pillar cracked, one wall leaning. The keeper called for help, and the villagers came. Aaron worked among them until his muscles trembled. He studied every fracture like a physician learns his patient's pain. And in that moment, the lesson struck him. Perfection doesn't build strength. Adaptation does. He changed his design. He carved channels to let the river breathe through the arch. He thickened the shoulders. He softened the edges that met human hands. He even carved a tiny hollow, invisible to most, where people could tie ribbons of gratitude. The bridge would not just survive storms, it would welcome them. The days passed. The valley noticed. A child brought him fruit and asked, "How do you know when you're finished?" Aaron smiled. "When the stone stops arguing." An old widow came with tea. "Build it for those who will never thank you," she said. He nodded, carving deeper. "Then I will build it twice as strong." Even the monk came once. He said nothing, only watched Aaron's movements with quiet pride. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. "Your thoughts have grown quiet." Aaron smiled faintly. "They've learned to breathe." 40 days later, the keystone was ready. Smooth, strong, curved like a promise. Villagers gathered, ropes pulled, beams lifted. The final stone rose like a slow heartbeat. And when it fell into place, the bridge sighed, whole again. No trumpets, no applause, just the sound of first footsteps across something that didn't exist yesterday. The cracked bell of the valley rang once, imperfect yet beautiful. And Aaron smiled through the dust on his face. That night he returned to the temple of quiet steps. The old monk sat before a single candle. Aaron placed the blue book on the mat. "Master," he said softly, "the vow is complete." The monk looked up. "Then tell me," he said, "what did you learn?" Aaron unwrapped his drum and his scribe's kit, both untouched for 40 days. He placed them beside the book. "I learned I never lost these paths," he said. "I just needed to earn the feet that could walk them." The monk smiled gently. "And your one sentence?" Aaron dipped his pen and wrote, "I am free, not because fear is gone, but because fear no longer decides my step." The monk nodded slowly. "Keep the book," he said, "but lend its lesson. Some roads open only when others walk them." Seasons turned. The bridge stood strong, even when the river rose angry. People crossed it every day, lovers, traders, pilgrims. Some left flowers at the edge, never knowing who had built it. And sometimes, at sunset, Aaron would sit upon the arch with his drum, playing a slow rhythm that rolled across the water. Steady, grounded, alive. When the young came to him with trembling voices, "I have too many dreams, I can't choose," he never gave them answers. He gave them the vow. "By sunset," he said, "choose one thing you can begin, and take one step that cannot be taken back. Shrink the task, not the promise. Keep the time, not the mood. And remember, bridges don't think about crossing, they just hold." One evening, as the sun melted into the river, a traveler paused on the bridge beside him. "Is this the fastest way across?" the traveler asked. Aaron smiled. "It's not the fastest," he said softly. "It's the surest. Many stones, one at a time." The traveler looked down at the moving water. "I too carry many roads in my head." Aaron's voice was calm. "Then by sunset, choose one. Tie your life to it, with a knot the night cannot untie." The traveler bowed and walked on. Aaron stayed a while, listening to footsteps above and water below. Two songs that never end, teaching each other how to move. Hear this, friend. Overthinking is fear pretending to be wisdom. The cure is not more thought, it is a vow. Choose by sunset. Take one irreversible step. When life pushes, answer with technique, not temper. Protect your promise, not your mood. And remember, freedom is not a life without fear. It's the courage to move while fear watches. So tonight, make your vow. By sunset, choose one road, and take one step you cannot take back, because the bridge you dream of crossing is waiting for you to build it. Tell me in the comments, what will your one step be today? Like, share with someone who is stuck at the edge of many roads, and subscribe for more cinematic tales. This is the Soul Tales, where every story touches the soul.